welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new, be sure to subscribe down below and be sure to put on the post notifications if you guys do enjoy this reaction. And in today's reaction, I'll be reacting to the third part to the documentary of Marianas Trench. My Love is the Killing Kind. So without further ado, let's get right into the reaction.
But it's my favorite. That's my favorite thing about our job is that like 45 minutes to an hour where I get to play the album for everyone for the very first time.
Yeah, it kind of makes it. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, just leave it.
Sounds thicker.
So, yeah, totally.
Yeah. Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Most people, if you listen on a laptop, you wouldn't even hear it.
Yeah. No. And if it's anything weird, he'll contain it. I think it's better.
In mastering?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier to tame it than it is to have it, so. But I think it's perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's very cool. Nice dramatic way to open a record.
I know it seems like then you're just done the album and then you're just like, woohoo! Now like it comes out and we go and tour and everything's magic. There's so much more that has to go into it still. So then it goes to mastering, which is the last audio part that has to happen. And then you got to start dealing with the artwork. We've worked with Garnett Armstrong for 3 different albums. And I had been talking to him about what the theme was for the album and you know,
wow.
Originally my idea was like,
I would have loved to have one of those CDs or, you know,
should show like the album cover should be like a big like creepy like mansion or something like that. And then it was kind of like that idea was a little too on the nose, you know, and it was
cool.
a little too obvious. And Garnett came back with this great concept of, he was like, well, why don't we shoot people and we'll do like an image over top of an image and you know, we'll show, you know, like because for him, he was like, when I think of haunting and stuff, I think of being partly on the other side and partly on this side, and there's a duality to that. So he wanted to show a duality, which is why it's all each person is 2 images.
So, this is Matt.
And you know, this is Josh.
And we have this band, and we have this album coming out called Phantoms, and we have to do photos for such things.
Yeah, and on this album cycle, Josh and I have switched shirts. So I've got the mesh now, and he's got the black tanks on.
Right.
And
so I don't know who found it, but we ended up using this place, beautiful mansion, Highcroft Manor, which is the University Women's Club.
God, I wish we had 2 days there. I remember seeing these really cool gargoyle-like statues in the yard that we really wanted to use, but the light was going down because it was still winter and the day was so short. But we wanted to pick somewhere to follow the vibe of the album, so we picked somewhere that was old. It was definitely actually haunted, so that was kind of cool. It definitely, yeah, it translated with the vibe that we wanted. The only thing that was a bit weird is it was like very close to Christmas time, so I remember there was Christmas decorations, and we had to remove, you know, we had like a perfect like spooky kind of look, but there was like, hi, tinsel in the background, so we had to like take down some of the, you know, the Christmas balls and all that kind of stuff to make sure we captured the vibe, but I think we did it.
Alright, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. Hold it.
First music video for the album cycle was I Knew You When. We shot that with our longtime collaborator friend, Mr. Kyle Davison.
yes.
And that video was...
I remember watching this video.
It's actually pretty much all Kyle's idea. He wanted to build this interesting world on a soundstage with dancers doing interpretive stuff. He knew enough about our band to not get us to have to do any real choreography. Because he remembers from the Stutter video how poorly that goes. I like to have there be a little bit of a storyline, like during the actual live show itself. That idea first came to me sort of when we were doing Masterpiece Theater, and it was all sort of based on Broadway musicals and stuff. And then like Ever After, we had the fairy tale story going through it. Astoria, we had like a weird like shadow Josh that would on projectors that would fuck around with me during the show. And then this one, we wanted it to sort of basically just tell this descent into madness as we were getting haunted by someone. We went back to Highcroft Manor again, and we had Cammie dressed up in all this like sort of like dead bride looking stuff, and she just kind of like followed me around doing creepy stuff all day. Later when we would play a show in Vancouver, Cammie showed up to the show.
I remember that too.
Dressed in her creepy bride outfit and like walked up and down the line, like just creeping people out in line. And we had one show where she came on stage as well, which was great.
I'm perfectly sane. Of that I'm sure. For one whose man could not endure. The voices that keep in constant chorus, singing to me. The melody is simple though, melancholy, beautiful, slow. As I begin to make out words, not to listen now would be absurd. They pull at me. Their pull is steep. The deep, the deep, the deep, the deep. It gets much harder here, it seems, to tell the dreamer from the dreams. Were I insane, I would ignore.
They want to give us nightmares.
They're long cold, and so therefore, my sanity intact, not spent.
They're very creative with creating the documentary and just like the overall album and just every single song on the album as well.
So I continue my descent.
Okay, so leading into the touring cycle. So with Phantoms, we had some deadlines that really came against us, and we basically barely made every deadline, like just within a few hours. So we were like trying to play catch up the whole time. And then it was like, okay, the way everything was planned out was like the tour was planned before we knew when the album was done. So it just ended up being that the album was going to get released only like 3 days before the tour started, which isn't great. Like what you really want is for the album to have been out for like a month or so people have learned the songs and stuff. And we went out being like, okay, the album's like 2 or 3 days old and we're doing the show.
There are a couple of risks here. One, we haven't had as much time to maybe rehearse the songs and get them up to speed as we may normally have had in the past. And number two, do any of the people come to the show even know the songs? So there's a little bit of a concern there. And then the third challenge is actually coming up with a set list, because you have another 10 songs to add.
I mean, this Marianas Trench, they could do that, and you know, we'd still love it. We'd still love this, you know, whatever songs are done live, whether we know it or not.
Right? And you've got 50 other songs in your catalog. Set lists they're so hard to come up with, because you know there's certain songs that everybody wants to hear.
Yeah.
But there's also songs that, like, you know, a song from our second album, like All to Myself or something, or Cross My Heart. We've played it so many times. You're like, okay, should we move on from this song or should we not? And a lot of the times, I remember, you know, we got advice a long time ago from, you know, some people who've been in the industry for a long time. They were saying, you know, that people want to hear the hits, so you got to still give them what they want to hear, but we also still want to play a lot of the new stuff. So.
Bye. I feel like I've seen both of these performances, the Toronto one and the London. I'm pretty sure the London one. No. The London one was the during the day performance. Not sure if I've seen this one, but I would love to. That's what you call fans. That's what you call fans. I would love to have been at every single one of their performances.
So first of all, you got to get all your wardrobe. We do costume changes and stuff. So there's all the wardrobe to take care of, and we were looking at like the fashion of Edgar Allan Poe's era, and that's a little difficult because you want to still feel somewhat current on stage. You don't want to look like a bunch of goddamn pirates on stage.
Mike, Matt, and I bought a bunch of clothes on the internet, and I was like, "Where are you guys looking?" Because I couldn't find what we were supposed to look for, and I was, I'm going to look like Count Chocula, so I had to make sure, it was appropriate to theme. So we had a bunch of different websites that we were looking at, and some of the stuff was good. Like when we bought it, and you try it on, you're like, "Oh, it looks good." And I remember looking in the mirror, and my wife was looking at me going, "Ugh, you're wearing that?" I'm like, "Okay, but just picture the theme." She's like, "Okay, I get it." And then throughout the tour, I think some of the clothes started getting stinkier and stinkier because they were with these weird velvet materials.
I absolutely love watching this documentary, getting to know about just the album and everything that they go through with, and everything after the album and so on and so forth, all the live shows and just all these stuff that you really get to feel a part of the band and a part of this album. If you guys have not seen my initial reactions to this album, be sure to go ahead and check it out. I have tons and tons of Marianas Trench reactions, and I have my initial reactions, obviously, and then I have the music video reactions, and then I have the live performance reactions, and then I have this reaction. So be sure to go ahead and check it out on my channel under Marianas Trench. That being said, guys, if you guys did enjoy this reaction, be sure to go ahead and put on the post notifications, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. That being said, later.